Thank you so much for joining me for this important conversation about what it means to be a servant leader, and specifically how to put those around you before yourself. In a me first world, we must be willing to place others first if we are going to be an effective leader. While the idea of servant leadership goes back all the way to the greatest leader of all, Jesus Christ, modern servant day leadership movement, well, that was established by Robert Greenleaf. He published his classic essay where he coined the words servant leadership. He defined a servant leader as simply a servant first. A servant first. It begins with the natural feeling that one, if they want to serve, must in fact serve first. Then make choices that bring one to aspire to lead in this fashion. That person, that person is sharply different from the one who is leader first. This is perhaps because of the need to satisfy the unusual power drive or to acquire some sort of material possession. The leader first and the servant first are really two extreme types. Between them are the shadings and blends that are a part of the variety of the human condition. The difference manifests itself in the care taken by the servant leader to make sure that other people's highest priority needs are being served. The best test, and this is really how it is difficult to administer, is this: do those who I'm serving, do they grow as individuals? Do they, while being served, do they become more healthier, wiser, more autonomous, more likely themselves to become servants? And what is the effect on the least privileged in society? The servant heart is a fundamental characteristic of a servant leader. It is that special characteristic of what it means to be a true servant leader. It's not about being subservient, it's about wanting to really help people. It's about identifying and meeting needs of colleagues and customers and faith communities. If I took 5 minutes to talk to your friends about what their thoughts were about you as a leader, what would they say? Would they say that you are a servant leader? Because let's face it, there are many today, they don't have a desire to serve others at all. And as I have grown and developed as a professional and a leader, I've realized my desire to serve has really catapulted my ministry, to which I'm called to lead on a daily basis. This is really because I have desired to follow the Lord first and seek to serve first. A leader with a servant's heart is truly an invaluable asset, and everybody in a leadership position should really seek to adopt this kind of mentality. Oftentimes, we confuse leadership with dictatorship. I've seen them both, right? Because a dictator, well, that person is barking out the orders, doesn't take into the account the needs or wants of others. Whereas a servant leader is really the complete opposite. The servant leader works tirelessly to develop his or her people and are focused on what they can do for others. I think it's helpful to share a few examples of what it really means to be a servant leader, and more importantly, ways in which we can establish a culture of servant leadership within the church or organization that we're a part of. First of all, to develop servant leaders, we've got to let others see us serve and then encourage them to join us. It's of utmost importance that those around me witness me serving. Because if they don't see me serve, how in the world will they ever develop the heart of a servant leader? If I desire to also develop those around me, then I've got to make sure that they understand and know that I care about them. We've all heard the wonderful quote about this that says, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. It's crucial that leaders know and understand the message and meaning behind this quote. Being knowledgeable, well, that doesn't make you a good leader. No, caring makes you a good leader. A leader who shows his or her team that they're going to care for them, they're not going to have to worry about loyalty or some sort of poor customer service in a business community. Place the importance of taking care of people above the importance of success at all cost or profit without morals. When you take care of the people that you're leading, they will take care of the next level of needs. If you'll take care of your people, they will take care of the next level of needs. And so we ought to perhaps find creative ways in which we can simply show our team that we do care. Maybe it could be something as small as a note or a card, a kind word of affirmation when something has gone well, or maybe some redirection if something needs to be adjusted. Because to be a leader means I must have the heart and the heartbeat of those around me. To develop leaders, I've got to be willing to invest in people. I've got to be willing to invest in the team, because the biggest investment that we can make in our people, it is time. And so giving our time is really a surefire way to let individuals know how much you care about them. And so we ought to spend quality time with the team. And in doing so, it will greatly impact their performance on a direct level, and therefore will have the greatest impact on the ministry or the organization we are leading. And so spending time connecting with folks as often as you can is so vital. It's so important. Talk to them about non-work or task-related issues. Show genuine interest in them as a person. You'd be surprised what this means to somebody when you really take heart to what's going on. You listen, and you are able to really sense the moment and express wonderful mutual feelings or care or concern about what that person is going through. If you want to grow leaders, don't place restrictions on your willingness to serve. For a servant leader, there's no job beneath their pay grade. They're going to be willing to do anything and everything. If you are in leadership, don't make the mistake of feeling or thinking that you are somehow above grunt work. Your team, they can sense your attitude, and it is often off-putting. It puts distance between you and your team. So never be afraid to roll up your sleeves to do the hard work. Greenleaf described a philosophy, not a theory. However, the elements are more unique to servant leadership compared with other theories. And the first thought is something called the moral component. This is the personal morality, integrity of that servant leader, and the way in which that servant leader encourages enhancing moral reasoning among his or her followers. This is when those around the leader can test the moral basis of the servant leader's vision and organizational goals. In other words, does what you convey and ask of the individual, does it measure up to the vision of the church, the vision of the company, the vision of the organization that you are serving? There needs to be focus on serving followers for their own good, not just for the good of the organization. If I'm going to serve, and I'm going to serve those that I'm trying to lead, I've got to be concerned, and it be from the heart, not just simply out of some quid pro quo. A servant leader must also be willing to be concerned about the success of all stakeholders. What is that? Well, a stakeholder can be defined as employees, customers, business partners, members of a church, communities, and certainly society as a whole. Finally, there must be self-reflection as a counter to the leader's hubris. Successful leaders maintain a servant's heart and thus encourage their people to do the same. Imagine what your church, imagine what your organizational structure would look like if you and your team became servant leaders. What an impact this would have on the experiences, on those around you. Wouldn't it be a wonderful experience for every person that had a conversation with you or a conversation with your team members? Only good can come from showing your people, your church, your organization what it means to serve first. If we're going to lead like Jesus, we must explore ways to foster servant leadership in our own leadership setting and among our teams on a daily basis. I hope that this conversation about servant leadership has been beneficial. May the Lord richly bless you.